Diego Ferreira facing off against Beneil Dariush, man. So let me get straight into it. I said it was a rematch already. You already know this, man. But listen, Ferreira had trouble with the southpaw stance, right, when he fought Dariush the first time. Now, he walks his opponents down in this kind of like modified Muay Thai switch stance where he's constantly popping his knee up, trying to. It serves both to check leg kicks, but also to disrupt the timing of his opponents. Anyone who's in front of him. Now, the question comes down to this. Both of these opponents, Dariush and Ferreira, they thrive on walking their opponents down. This is like a couple of other bouts that we've talked about before. Now, my question to you, AJ, is who leads the dance in this one? But most importantly, not just who, but why do they lead the dance? Both of them are capable of doing it. Who leads it this time around?
Yeah, that's a great question, Derek. And I think it actually comes down because, like you said, they had a rematch already. And Dariush had a very dominant performance. So I think Dariush is going to come out hot and heavy, kind of try to lead that dance. But like you said, against that Showtime fight where Diego Ferreira kept lifting that leg up, it's interesting because will that threat of the strike or will that threat of the check? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but Dariush doesn't throw too many low leg kicks. He's more pressure, grind you down in the face, kind of get in your zone.
He'll throw him out there. He'll throw him out there from time to time. I do got to point that out there. He does have that calf kick in his arsenal. But yes, he is more of a, swing and bang slickster boxer.
Exactly. So I'm thinking Dariush is going to come out hot and heavy trying to lead the dance a little bit. And if Diego Ferreira can actually hurt him, then we're going to see something interesting go from there on. What do you think?
Well, I think that Ferreira, if you watch his last fights, last couple fights, he's a full-out pressure fighter. He's full out, I'm walking you down, and I think he's going to have that chip on his shoulder, kind of like Dustin Poirier had where he says, listen, you ain't bullying me, bro. I'm going to take what you got, and I'm going to walk forward. And that kind of leads into my next question, though, is that, like I just mentioned, Dariush, he has that slickster boxing style where his hands are real low, and he's literally just using footwork and head movement to evade strikes. But one thing that I found out was really interesting is Ferreira, since they kind of know each other a little bit well, Ferreira had a lot of success when he just said, you know what, enough of the nonsense, I'm going to blitz forward with strikes, and Dariush did what? The same thing most people do out of an instinct. You walk in a straight line backwards with your chin high up in the air. You're just trying to kind of get away, right? But legitimately, he had a lot of success there. So I really wonder, because it's kind of like Corey Sandhagen does the same thing that Dariush does, but I wonder, both opponents, or do you think Ferreira can capitalize on that? That's the question. Do you think he can capitalize on the tiny bits of mistakes that these fighters are going to make? Because that's at the point where you've already fought somebody. I mean, it's not like there's something crazy, really new you're going to bring to the game. So do you think he can learn from his mistakes from the first time?
I think that's a very astute point you pointed out, Derek, because in Dariush's last fights against Drakkar Klose and Scott Holtzman, both, a second round finish and a first round finish, Dariush was hurt. Mm-hmm. He had to come back from those fights where he got tagged a little bit and then started to really put the pace, put the pressure, and actually get the finish. Now, Ferreira, like you said, he capitalized on those weaknesses in the first fight. And like you said before, we ain't kids anymore. We can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to come out and he knows exactly how to capitalize on those moments. And with Dariush almost kind of being exposed in his last two fights for, like you said, keeping his hands down and chin back as he's retreating instead of getting out of the way of the train tracks, he's stepping back. That's the one spot where I was actually noted down. And that's Ferreira's biggest chance to capitalize on the opportunity. Throw those 3, 4, 5 strike combos and actually get Dariush moving backwards and in an exposed position. If he can capitalize on that, it's going to be a fun match to watch. And I think it'll be a short night for him.
I think honestly, man, I think Dariush isn't doing it intentionally. I don't think any fighter would do it intentionally. I think it's just an instinct, and that's kind of the part of the game is you take advantage of those opportunities, man. I do kind of want to point this out there, just a couple interesting stats for the lightweight division. Diego Ferreira, he's third in striking differential in the lightweight division, and Dariush is tied for 6th with Nate Diaz for the most finishes in the lightweight division with 8. And I believe Dariush, what is he? I think he is, 4 finish wins, in his last 5 fights, man. So he's been on a streak of a streak. Now it comes down to this. I think personally the striking edge is in Dariush's corner. I think that the submission edge in terms of straight offensive submissions go to Ferreira. Now, I think the top control aspect is pretty even though Dariush got the best of Ferreira in their first bout. Now, my question to you is, how does this fight end and why?
That's a good one, Derek. And I think, like you said, Dariush has got the striking. Ferreira has the submission. They both kind of had that pressure because that's just who they are naturally. But I think this fight comes down to who has that dog in him. And I'm giving that advantage to Dariush. I think it's going to be fast, furious. Both people are going to get hurt, ending up with Dariush getting that KO win. Round 1, specifically because I think he's going to have that dog in him a little too much for Ferreira to handle. What do you think?
You know what, man? I'm going to go Dariush, and I can't tell you the round because I don't know the round quite yet, but I'm going with a knockout win. And the reason why is because Dariush's left hand is kind of like Conor McGregor-esque, man. It's a missile. Like, in the lightweight division, people crumble when they get hit by that left hand, and it's kind of amazing to see. He's like, he's not the most in shape type of guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about like chiseled abs. Dariush isn't the most like, great physique like that. Oh man, but those looks are deceiving. He will put you down, man. So let's move on to the next one.